are delighted to welcome you to this information session, Acting for the Rural Vision, Making Your Commitment for Vibrant Rural Areas Visible. This 1 hour session will help you to understand what is the commitment's purpose in the context of the Rural Vision for 2040 and the Rural Pact. We'll also have the opportunity to hear 2 examples of commitments, as well the presentation of the online commitment tool to submit commitments. And finally, there will be time for a Q&A session at the end of the session. And I already invite you to put your questions, if you have some, in the chat, so we will be able to collect them and to answer them one by one or during this Q&A session. So I'm going to share a very short presentation to present the agenda. Is it this one? Yes. Okay. So I am Pascal Van Doorn, the team leader of the Rural Pact Support Office. So firstly, just some, I would say, some housekeeping rules. So you are invited to keep your video on, so we see you, it's nicer, but you cut your microphone when you are not speaking. You will be invited to speak when we have the Q&A session. Please, so we can, I would say, identify yourself, rename yourself by your name, surname, organization, if you are part of an organization, and your member states. When you will have the Q&A, so you raise your hand if you want to intervene. So be active in this session. Also, what is important to tell you that we are recording the meeting that will be displayed afterwards on the Rural Pact platform. And all the presentations from speakers today, as well as the recordings, will be available on the event page of this session and will send by email. In terms of agenda, so as I said, it's 1 hour. After my introduction, I will introduce a very ice-breaking question to see where you are in understanding the commitments, the purpose of the commitments. After we'll have a session encouraging action and building a critical mass for communities. Firstly, we'll have a presentation from Aude Blanc from DG Agri. Then we'll have a first inspiring commitment. I will present the speakers afterwards, one by one. After that, we have another session where the online commitment tool, perhaps you have the opportunity to have a look on this tool for those who have not yet submitted a commitment. So my colleagues will present this tool. We will have another inspiring commitment example, and then a session where you will be able to raise your questions, and we are going to answer that. But as I mentioned, you can already put some of the questions you would have listening to the speakers in the chat. And then we'll conclude explaining what are the next steps after this session. So I'm stopping sharing. And I'm giving the floor to Aude Blanc. So we are going in the first session, as I explained. So we will have Aude Blanc from DG Agri, and then followed by a first commitment example. So Aude, you have the floor.
Many thanks.
I forgot. Sorry, Aude, I forgot. We have a very short, I would say, exercise for the participants, and I give the floor. Sorry, Aude, I give the floor to Sophie, who will display a question that we invite you to answer, and then I will display the results of your, I would say, of your answers. So, do you know what Rural Pact commitments are? Yes, I'm not sure. No. So please answer. So it's important for us to know who you are and what do you know about the commitments. That's why we are also organizing this info session. So I give you, let's say, 1 minute to answer maximum, and then we'll display the results. So we see who you are, how you know how far you know, what are the commitments. as Aude will follow with the explanation of the commitments. And Sophie, I let you at some stage to share when you see that.
For now, we are still voting. So 64 out of 82 participants have voted.
Okay. So let's present the results. I think we can anyway come back by the end of the session to come back with if we have additional results. So it seems that more than 50% of the participants are aware about what are the commitments. A third you are not sure, and 10% no. So okay, we are happy to organize this info session for all of you, for those who know, for those who are not sure, and for those who do not know, because we have also some examples which could, I would say, demonstrate how you can commit and which kind of commitments can be proposed. Thank you very much, Sophie. So now, sorry, Aude, I'm coming back to you, so you have the floor.
Many thanks, Pascal. And welcome to everyone. Good afternoon. So I'm really pleased to be with you today to discuss a bit about this concept of the voluntary commitment to the rural vision. So yeah. Yes, let's start with the second slide, please.
You don't see the second slide?
Now, yes. Thank you. So yeah, so just as a starter, just to recall some words from our President von der Leyen, that rural areas are home to hundreds of millions of Europeans who enjoy living and working there. We stand by their side and want Europe's rural areas to flourish. Europe is investing in rural areas because they are prospects of Europe's future. So it's really our objective is to recognize what you're already doing on the ground, and we want to recognize it. And because you're already doing a lot. And so that's the ambition of the communication for long-term vision for rural areas, is really to gather Europeans that wish to act together towards stronger, connected, resilient, and prosperous rural areas. And to this aim, we have two main ways, if I may say. So we have the Rural Action Plan. So it's what the European Commission is doing, implementing is bit our homework in a sense. And we also have the Rural Pact that is about joining forces at all level of action. So European, national, regional, local governments with also the rural stakeholders. And just as a reminder, this picture from the 2022 conference officially launching the Rural Pact, and that was gathering everyone together in this purpose. So next slide, please. So the Rural Pact. So the Rural Pact is really the results of this European Commission communication, but also from a wide and extensive consultations with the rural stakeholders. And so it was launched in 2022, as was said before. And so it's really a space and framework to boost cooperation. So at all levels of governance, but also with civil society organizations, academia, and also citizens, businesses. And the Rural Pact belongs to all actors that want to make a difference for EU's rural areas. It's really to amplify rural voices and to give direct access to the EU level. And so that's why we are here today, is really to discuss this action angle of the Rural Pact. Next slide, please. So just to come back a bit on the history of those commitments. The commitments were officially launched at the first Rural Pact conference in June 22. And since then, we have commitments coming from all over Europe. In that sense, we can recall the launch of the Czech Rural Pact, the Rural Pact conference in Sweden, also the commitment to the Rural Pact from the regional government of Andalusia last year, or most recently, the launch of the Flemish Rural Pact. And also, we encourage you to share your commitments, because yes, it can be from higher level or commitments, but also in your daily life, what you are doing on the ground. It is what we want to recognize through the Rural Pact. Next slide, please. So yeah, this idea came from the Rural Pact preparation groups back in the days, and it was the occasion to really discuss with you, the rural stakeholders, to see a bit what were the needs and the objectives for the pact. And from this, really two main elements came out. The first was to involve all the actors and level of governments, from European and local one, but also to involve the civil society and all the actions already taking place. And so we were considering how to give you some visibility and how to valorize what you are already doing on the ground. So that's the purpose, really, is to show to everyone what actions you are already taking on the ground in your area, in your village, in your region, and also to inspire others, because an action that maybe you are taking in the south of Spain could also be valorized in the north of Poland, for instance. So really it's for everyone. As an individual, you can take a commitment, but also as an organization, it's really to show that you are taking action and you share the values of the Rural Pact. And so just to say also that everyone can take one, most recently, the European Commission has renewed its commitment to rural areas, as it was illustrated in the recent vision for agriculture and food by strengthening the Rural Pact. So to see that everyone, every level, even a citizen, your citizen want to say, in my daily life, I do this for my village, going to, I don't know, buy some fruits and vegetables from the local farmer. That's already something. It's what we want to valorize. So thanks a lot. Now I'm really looking forward to listen from the different commitments and also for more explanations from my colleagues at the RPSO.
Thank you very much, Aude, for this framework presentation where you explain where the context of the Rural Pact commitment. So quite helpful, and also raising the fact that everybody can commit from the different stakeholders, but also from I would say citizens, as we will have an example later in this session. So many thanks for that. I'm moving immediately to the first example of commitment. So I will give the floor to Sergio Olivero from the city of Magliano Alpi to present a commitment. So Sergio, you have the floor, so you can share your presentation.
Thank you. Just a moment. Can you see it?
Not yet, but I imagine it will. Okay, we see it. So now you have to put it in full. Okay.
Well,
Perfect.
I am from the city of Magliano Alpi. That is a rural village in western Italy. I am the president of a scientific committee of a renewable energy community, and also the head of a research unit of the energy center of the Technical University of Turin. Magliano Alpi was the first the first Italian renewable energy community in 2020. And then a network of municipalities called Magliano and Friends was created, and in October 24, Concernet, a confederation of energy communities, was founded in Magliano Alpi by the renewable energy community. The city of Magliano Alpi decided to submit this initiative as a Rural Pact commitment because we have the objective to become a replicable best practices for all Italian rural villages. Please be aware that in Italy there are roughly 3,000 municipalities that are far less 5,000 inhabitants. So it is important to create a best practice to replicate. In Italy, energy communities can be activated thanks to the transposition by the Italian law of the European directive called RED II. we have to be aware that energy community can be represented like an iceberg. The top of the iceberg that is visible is related to the incentives on share energy, but there are a lot of activities and services that can be performed by energy communities thanks to the market directive 944, including trading, flexibility, and also energy for e-mobility. This means that energy communities can be the base for bankable business plans to create value and to share this value among the stakeholders of the community. A renewable energy community is a private legal entity that is it is a company that is able to create value. By law, it must redistribute the value on the territory. This means that it is really important to build mechanisms to aggregate and govern renewable energy communities, also taking account of the legislation and the regulatory context that in Italy is far advanced. Why? Because if we represent renewable energy community, thanks to information technology, especially AI, artificial intelligence, a single private entity, we call it CREC, can manage a cluster of energy communities. That is that the area coverage of a CREC can range up to the entire Italian national territory. The enabler is the ICT, IoT, Internet of Things, AI, that is artificial intelligent platforms. This means that in Italy, a federation of energy communities will play a major role in energy transition. Obviously, we need the same digital AI platform to enable data management, maximize economies of scale, and provide energy services. We can also have different platforms that can be interoperated. This is what's happening, and by a digital management of this cluster of energy communities, we can enable virtual and physical energy sharing, metering, ancillary flexibility services. All of us surely read on newspapers about the blackout in Spain, and these mechanisms is capable of mitigating the risk of blackouts. Practically, by this integration of virtual energy energy communities, we can build a virtual energy company. This is exactly what the energy community of Magliano Alpi decided to do. It was the first Italian energy community in 2020, and in 2024, Concernet was created in order to enable the digital integrated management of clusters of energy communities. This means that the Concernet is going to act as a one-stop shop for investors to enhance fiscal benefits, also to provide flexibility and ancillary services in the market sector. And flexibility is a key to avoid the blackouts, energy trading, also data for financial tools, and also security and resilience. Obviously, innovative business models are concerned, and this means that Concernet act as a virtual energy company, so no mediators are necessary, like ESCOs, utilities. This means that Concernet, thanks to artificial intelligence, is capable of managing itself. This also means that the value added is not got by the utilities or the large investors, but remains on the territory. In this case, Concernet is a cluster of energy communities that are located in rural areas that is gathering and clustering all these villages in a way that a lot of money can be generated by the energy transition. This is also at the core of an initiative by the European Commission that is called ETIPSNet. You can also find details on the website, and the Concernet is the business case that was chosen to test business models and governance systems. So it is very important to note that all of these was born in a small rural municipality in northern Italy 4 years ago, and also thanks to the Talent University of Turin, it is now capable of starting being a game changer. Thank you for your attention, and obviously all questions are welcome.
Thank you very much, Sergio, for sharing your very interesting commitment, which is which is something that we can understand perfectly today after what we had the last days. So thank you for sharing this very interesting experience. So for the participants, this is one model of commitments which is hosted by, or I would say proposed by, an organization. We will listen a bit later, Kate, with a citizen who has another kind of commitment. So we can submit all, I would say, kind of sizing of commitments. But here we see that it's a very ambitious commitment, and thank you for sharing it. So do not hesitate, participants, to share any question you would have, either on the content of the commitment or either how Sergio has been, I would say, has decided to propose it as a Rural Pact commitment. So all questions are very, I would say, interesting to listen, that we can discuss or cover later in the Q&A, or even my colleagues can answer in the chat. So without,
is it possible to see? Is it possible to
yes,
see the Sergio's email once more, please?
Sergio, you
Yes.
can put your email in the chat perhaps as well.
Yes, I can. Okay, I can show the. Sorry, I'm just sharing how it works.
And we are going to, as I said before, we are going to share the different presentations after. So
Can you see it?
yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Without waiting, I'm going to give the floor. So we move to the next session. We will have two presenters. So the first is to my colleagues, Sophie Nedlin and Julie Degala, will present how the Rural Pact Support Office can, I would say, promote, support the dissemination of the commitments through different channels. But we are also going to present how this online commitment tool is working, which will be followed by Kate Carmody, who will present her commitment as a citizen. So I give the floor firstly to Sophie.
Yes, hello. You can see my screen, I hope.
Yes.
Perfect.
And you
Okay,
put it
so
on full screen. You have
perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah. So when we receive impactful commitments, just like Sergio's or Kate, of course, we want to give them the recognition that they deserve, also give them visibility to inspire others, and also maybe even to give you the opportunity to connect with each other and to see, maybe it's the same topic of interest that both of you, both parties work on. So it's a good also opportunity to connect if we make the commitments also visible. How does the Rural Pact support the dissemination of commitments? We do this, for instance, through publications. For instance, in the magazine, in the first edition of the magazine, we featured four commitments, which were all, which were all pretty much targeting the four pillars of the rural vision. So prosperous, connected, stronger, and resilient. We also have a good practice database where we also feature commitments which have materialized, which have substantial information, concrete actions or activities that we can also communicate on. But as well also at events. This was, for instance, the Policy Action Lab, bringing the Rural Pact closer to citizens, which we which was held in May 2024, where we also featured one commitment. Exactly. And once in a while, we also do a social media promotion. We are currently operating 4 social media platforms: LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Blue Sky. So we have these promotional activities of commitments, which we find very impactful, which we want to share with the wider audience. And these are like the main dissemination points of the Rural Pact Support Office. And now Julie will take over to show you how you can submit a commitment.
Thank you very much, Sophie, for giving this overview of the different communication channels that the Rural Pact Support Office can activate for, I would say, promoting the commitments, support exchange between the different commitments, experiences, etc. So, Julie, you have the floor.
Yes. Do you all see well my screen on the Rural Pact platform webpage on commitments?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. So to submit a commitment, you have to go to the platform, being already logged in. So it means that you need to have created already a profile as a Rural Pact community member. So in this case, I'm already logged in with a fictional community member profile, and I will guide you through the process of filling out a commitment on the platform. And to do this, I will use a hypothetical example. So it means that everything here, including the organization, event detail, and so on, is fictional, and it's simply for demonstration purposes. So to do that, we go to the commitments, what are commitments, and here you can click on Commit to Act for the Rural Vision. Once you're there, in my case, I registered as a committee members on behalf of my organization, and here the fictional commitment will be on behalf of my organization. So the first question is, are you filling in as an individual capacity or organization? I click on organization. They ask for the country of my commitment, so I will use in the example France, and I have to select the organization. If your organization already exists, and you can research here your organization name, you can directly find it and confirm. Otherwise, if your organization is not yet in the platform, you can add a new one here, filling the organization name, thematic field, size of organization, geographic scope, and stakeholder type. Here, to save time, I already pre-registered my organization, which is an association. So I am searching it here. And I have here my association, fictional one, that is l'Association des Jeunes de Saint-André. I confirm the selection, and now you will see that you can see your organization with all the information you have pre-filled about it, and you can go to the next step. So the first ever step of the commitment is to give it a title. So in my case, my commitment is the Saint-André's Diversity Fest, and the form asks for a start and an end date. So in my case, my Diversity Fest will happen on the 15th of August 2025, and it will be one-day event. So here I put the same first and end date. Then the form asks to which of the 3 objectives of the Rural Pact does your commitment support. It can be at least 1 or more, even the 3 objectives. In my case, my commitment supports the second objective of the Rural Pact, which is structure and enable collaboration and mutual learning between Rural Pact members. Then the form asks about the Rural Pact themes that are supported. So in my case, I'm committing to do an event that is supporting the sport, culture, and leisure. You will know more later. It has a youth dimension. I fill here youth. It will also support migrant integration. So I type here migrant. It's on social inclusion. so social inclusion, and it also supports the bioeconomy and circular economy of the area and food. So I will add here agriculture and food. Then it asks about the beneficiaries of my commitment. So in my case, it would be mainly citizens. I can now go to next step. If you want to stop and rethink of your commitment and not lose what you have been doing so far, you can always save it as a draft. So I go next. And then the form for the steps 3 out of 5 is asking if my commitment needs funding, and if such, what are the funding source? In my case, I will go for private funding and other sources such as crowdfunding. No, I'm not going to, no, private funding would be enough. Then if I plan to use your fund, which is not the case for my example, you can have a drop-down menu when you can select some of the most relevant EU funds for rural action. And then the form asks for the geographic scope. So here I will write local, and it asks also the type of territories that are likely to benefit. In my case, I'm using the village, rural village. So I will add rural area. And then here is where you start to describe more about your commitments. The form asks you to provide a description of the commitment, including the objectives and concrete activities implemented. So here I have prepared the text already. So I say that I'm committing to organize the Saint-André Diversity Fest, which is going to be an open-air event that aims to celebrate cultural diversity, inclusivity, and the richness of the cultural life of the village. It would bring together some local citizens, migrant community, and intergenerational people through activities that are cultural, sportive, and culinary. And then I explain the objective. So in my case, there are 5 objectives. So foster social cohesion, celebrate diversity, and enhance access to culture and support local producers. And it will involve as well some activities that I can develop. In this case, it's an open-air film screening, a live music concert, cultural feast, and 10 kilometers community run. Then the form asks about how much do I plan to invest in this project in euros. So I estimated the cost of 2,000 euros. And it asks if I am planning to invest other resources such as human, physical, and technological. So in this case, I do. I have here, you cannot really see, but I'm planning to have some community members from the youth association, local volunteers, musicians, local producers, for example. Then as a next step, and we are almost at the end of the form to fill a commitment, the form asks which type of activities will be implemented under this commitment. And here you have a drop-down menu with different type of activity: communication and advocacy, knowledge sharing, rural development strategy, networking activities, and so on. In my case, it's an event, so I will click on events, but it could have been different ones, event plus knowledge sharing or communication and advocacy. Voila, and then the form asks me to outline the milestone and the final outcome. So for the milestone, I am developing more the plan. So what are the different stages that will be required to implement my commitment, and the final outcomes. So here I am explaining that at the end, the commitments aims to strengthen social cohesion, increase cultural exchange, promote local producers, and foster successful collaboration between different stakeholders, such as the local association, businesses, and the municipality. Then I need to inform how many people do I expect that will directly or indirectly benefit from the activity. So I hope that at least 300 people will benefit and be involved in this event. And then you will see, important to say, that all of the questions that are marked with a little star are compulsory. Those that don't have a little star are not compulsory. So, for instance, these three questions on how many people will directly or indirectly benefit, how many concrete project initiatives do I expect to be generated, and the jobs are not compulsory. So it's great to know. So here on how many concrete activities do I expect to be generated, as I have 4 main activities in this event. I put 4, and I don't expect to have additional job maintained or created for my commitment. So I don't fill this form, this question. And this last question would be for the results once my commitment would have been completed, which is not yet the case. So I leave it for now. And now, so. Sorry, what is happening? Commit, save. Oh, it asks. Okay, I'm saving as a draft. And here you see the commitment as a draft. Once this is saved as a draft, I can edit and, sorry, I'll go through all the steps again. It is maybe because okay, sorry, this little, entendrez. Well, once all of the fields are being filled, you can save it as a draft, and then you submit the commitment. It will, and then you will have a little moment to wait. So the team, the original team, will review the commitment and publish it. Once the commitment is published, you go to discover existing commitment, and it will appear here on the list of the commitments, and you will be able here to see yours. For instance, I can show you the last commitment that have been submitted. But you can also filter the commitments to see whatever, like for instance, the commitments that have been submitted by organization or individuals. If you're looking for commitments for certain countries or certain objective, in all this database, you will be able to search for the existing commitments.
Usually.
Voilà. Okay.
Thank you for, I would say, going through the tool, showing how the stakeholders can fill it quickly. If you have already your ideas of projects, commitments that you want to propose in this Rural Pact platform. So I think that it was quite clear the way. So just to remind that there are some compulsory fields and non-compulsory. So we encourage people to complete as much as possible, because the commitments will be more, I would say, visible, understood by the visitors on the platform, but it can be quick to be so many thanks, Julie. I don't want to take too much delay. So if there are some questions either on the tool or the way the communication on the commitments that have been presented by Sophie, do not hesitate to put them in the chat. Without waiting, so many thanks to both of you. I will give the floor to Kate Carmody, who will present her commitment as citizen. So Kate, you have the floor and you can share your presentation.
Thank you. We have it there.
Yes, we see.
Grant, thank you. My commitment relates to cooperatives. In Ireland, we have a long history of cooperatives and their benefit to rural society. So what I'm going to show you is why I decided that a cooperative should be a social enterprise. And I found this out by creating a cooperative back in 2018. It was, based on the needs of small farmers, and particularly on the western seaboard of Ireland, because we are literally on the periphery of Europe. And the work of our cooperative was to encourage young farmers and rural actors to find solutions to the problems that we were having. But what we found was that there were too many barriers put in our way in terms of policy and finance. And it has been extremely frustrating for us. I should explain that I'm an organic dairy farmer. My background is biochemistry and social science, and I'm a recognized EU expert in agricultural production and sustainability. And I also make cheese on my farm. So here is our problem in rural Ireland. As you see, the western seaboard has become very remote, and where I live is right at the mouth of the River Shannon, which is a remote area where we now have a lot of wind farms and solar farms put upon us without any consultation. So the idea of the hemp co-op was to try and give farmers a choice, give them a value-added product. And we've widened our scope to include flax and medicinal and aromatic plants, because there's a big tradition of growing them in Ireland. And we have also done all the socio-economic profiling of the area. So we know that this would actually solve some of our needs. And we came to the conclusion that we have to be social. We have to set a new cooperative up as a social trust. As a social trust, we'll be able to register as a charity under Irish law. So we will be able to take money from funding mechanisms that we cannot access at the moment. And I know this because I have spoken to so many of them all over the world, including the Island Fund, and, there's a lot of cross-border initiatives, but they'll only give money to charities because, it's the irony of the capitalist system that they'll only give the money if they can write it off as a tax relief. And, to me, that's taking the social out of the charitable status. But what we're doing is setting up this new cooperative, which will basically do the work that the hemp co-op has done. And it's been very enthralling what has happened with the hemp co-op, because at our peak, we had over 200 farmers, and many of them were small farmers. Some of them would arrive at my back door and they'd actually say to me that their sons or daughters are in Australia or North America and they want to come home to farm, but they don't want to farm the way I farm or their parents farmed, which is a form of drudgery, you might say, milking cows 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So they wanted to look at value-added products that would allow them to farm their land and add value to their community. So, as I said already, we will have a new cooperative set up by the end of the year and register it as a charity. This way we will bypass a lot of government policy which is not allowing us to grow. And I think that's been the most frustrating thing for us. So basically, we will put the social capital back into our communities, put a value on us that we're not boxed into a financial spreadsheet, as you might put it. And you can read a lot about this, and I'll show you this in my last slide, because these are some of my favorite books, which I recommend to people. You know, we need to humanize our societies again and the economy. And we can see this from what's happening all over the world. People are getting very frustrated. We need to build community resilience, whether you're in a city or a rural community. We need to civilize our form of governance so that it recognizes that there is a social contract that has to be met for our communities. And we need to create prosperity for everyone, that everything is not about money. It's about how we relate to each other, how we build our society and put a value on everyone in society. And the last recommendation is about nationalization, because this is a pet love of mine, that when we had the global crash back in 2008, we should have nationalized the bank in Ireland. Instead, what we did, we socialized private equity and, you know, enforced capitalism on society. So the people paid for the failure of our bank. And I think my social cooperative, once it gets up and running, will do the thing that we hoped that the hemp co-op would do. And I think that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kate. Quite motivating and showing that anyone can make a very, I would say, strong commitment to the Rural Pact, as you are an organization or as you do it as a, I would say, a citizen. So thank you very much for sharing your initiative and to share it on the Rural Pact Commitments platform. So I will give now. I see that it's 10 to 3, so we will finish at 3 as announced. I will give the floor to Julie, my colleague. We'll open the floor. We'll open the floor for some questions if there are. I have not seen. I'm just checking the chat if we have some questions already. As such, do not hesitate to share them if you want to share them verbally. But I give you the floor, Julie. You have not so much time. Let's say five minutes, and then still a question for the participants to fill in as we did at the beginning, and then we will conclude. So, Julie, you have the floor. I'm just checking.
Yes, thank you very much. Don't hesitate if you have any question. I wanted also to inform you. I put in the chat the link directly to go to the webpage of commitments. Here you have a lot of information. You have a step-by-step guide that is very visual to see how you can submit the commitments. You also have a guide on how to create a profile if it's not already the case. So don't hesitate to consult those links. Can we do as an association? I don't know if anyone wants to ask direct question to us. Don't hesitate to take the floor and ask a question. Yes, Aris?
Hello, my name is Aris Sadlers, and I already wrote my quite huge comment in the chat box. I'm representing quite huge organization and also in Rural Pact Coordination Group, representing more than 20 national organizations European-wide, and also my national organization from Latvia, and also smaller organizations from local action groups. We do Rural Pact. We are doing thousands of activities, and our daily work is related to commitments, which is absolutely fits to goal of Rural Pact, etc. And this is quite important to understand that for organizations as us, it is quite impossible to make our daily work and split to commitments. We do starting from small community work till policy making activities, implementing cross-sectoral projects, promotion campaigns, a lot of things. So that's why this is our daily work. We to make our work, we don't need some kind of special commitments. What I wanted to say, if you will not see a lot of commitments from this national organizations, don't be surprised, because it's what we do. It's what we do. Otherwise, it will be very big capacity burden for us to report our thousands of tasks and. But if we will put something like just few things, it will provide not right opinion about organization, because it's like, yeah, it's too huge, and to make it holistic. Report. You understand what I mean.
Yes,
Thank you.
I understand. Thank you very much, Aris. Indeed, it's true that there are a lot of organizations that are actively committed to act for rural development in Europe, and in which their activities are highly supporting the long-term vision for rural areas and therefore the Rural Pact. Here, the commitments platform is not necessarily to have a repository of all the activities, numerous activities that you are doing within your organization, but rather to show as a community spirit that we are numerous, committing to act for the vision, to show that we are working in this framework of the Rural Pact, that we adopt the objectives and the values and the way of working, and we want to share this as a community together. So it's really the space to show that we can act for the Rural Pact in a very variety of ways. There is not one single action. There is no small actions either. That all actions count, whether you're from a big organization or small or as a citizen. It counts, and it shows that we are all committed to act for the vision. And in your case, there's different ways to commit. The platform does not stop you from submitting different commitments. You can always, when you're about to launch a new activity, a new project, or a new initiative, you can always add a new commitment, even though I understand that the idea is not necessarily to have to inform all of the activities that your organization is doing as a commitment, but it's rather to participate in this community efforts. I hope I answered your question.
Julie, if there are not other questions, I suggest that Sophie is presenting the last question, or we can perhaps still take one or two. If there are or not, we move to the end. It's 3 to 2.
Okay, so if there's nothing else, I will move to our concluding quiz, let's say, where you can vote on, after the session, do you intend to submit a commitment to the Rural Pact? I am planning to submit one, or I do not plan to submit a commitment at this stage. So I will give you a couple of minutes to vote, a couple of minutes, couple of seconds. So we get a bit of an overview. Okay. So we can see that some of you already have submitted one or several commitments. And it's also nice to see that almost half of the participants which are here today are planning to actually submit a commitment or several. So this is, of course, nice to see. And we hope to see many of you in on our platform.
Thank you.
I
Thank you very
missed
much.
it.
Oh, yeah,
Can
there
you
is.
put can you put the questionnaire again, because I did not have time to complete.
Sophie?
Yes, I can put it again, but then everyone has to vote again.
Oh, then
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah. So
Sorry about that. Okay,
no worries,
just
no worries.
disregard.
But we are interested to know if you have already submitted a commitment, or if, based on the info session of today, you are prepared to submit a commitment, or you have still to think about and you are not still ready for submitting a commitment. It was
No, I would like to commit. I would like
okay.
to commit. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
We're happy about hearing that. So as we are almost 3 o'clock, so many thanks for all the contributions. Just to remind that the presentations and recordings will be available on the platform quite soon and shared by email. I'm personally happy, and we're all happy to see that 50% of the participants are ready to commit. We were almost 100 participants today, so quite good results. So also do not hesitate to share the information you got today in your networks. Also to, I would say, to share the idea of committing, because you have understood or you have listened to examples also about the tool, etc. I would like to thank all speakers who contributed to this info session: Aude Brown from DG Agri, Sergio Olivero from the city of Magliano Alpi, Kate Carmody, who has committed as citizen, and my colleagues from the Rural Pact Support Office, Sophie Nedlin and Julie de Galard. And especially a big thank to all participants for your obvious interest in supporting the implementation of the Rural Pact. So thank you for your participation. So we will share all things that we have presented today, and the Rural Pact Support Office is at your support for any, I would say, additional information or any support for committee. Have a nice day.